Welcome to Real Life and Archetypes. My name is Marina. So this is part 9 of the archetypal exploration of Christian Craighead's interview on the Shawn Ryan Show. And the last time we spoke of his relationship with spirit and religion. And so now we're going to go more into his relationship with authority, and that's an interesting subject. I'm just thinking now that there's a lot that I want to say about this. Let's just watch this clip.
To him, I'm not bitter towards the regiment. I'm bitter towards the British government. I'm British towards the Ministry of Defence, and I'm British towards some personalities of leadership who were in command in 2019, 2020. That's my issue, and it's all personal stuff. It's not, but
I want you to pay attention to what he just said, because he said it's all personal stuff. In another clip, I think he's going to say something else, but it's all personal stuff. Why is it personal? Do you remember that we've talked about how he has a personal umbilical cord with the elder archetype, the older self authority, through his grandmother? He feels things personally because he has a personal relationship or attachment to that archetype. So he's going to feel those experiences very personally. That's normal. That's the way archetypes work.
I'm super proud of the SS, and I would always support them if I could. Mm-hmm. But that, to your point, is it's not just me. There's lots of men with lots of experience, and once you're out, they don't care.
Caring, support. That's the language of the family archetype, the emotional self, the personal self. He's got these two completely tied together. The family and the older self, which represents society, authority. So they're completely linked in him. One cannot be with the other. So supporting authority supports you, and now you have all of that experience. Look at what he's talking about. He's talking about that he is the older now, and he's got all this experience, and now he's out, and they don't care. To care, that's another language of the family archetype. This guy, that's why this interview is so interesting to me. He is very personal. And the thing is, this is my defense of the family archetype, which makes you personal, which makes us emotional. That's because we become the human beings who are very unique. I've used that word before. We are not like others. To be personal, to be in touch with what you feel, with your emotions. Emotions have such a bad rap. Yes, they can keep you stuck and you can become a whiner and all that stuff, but they are important. They have a function. They make you process life in a way that is very personal. And when you are very personal and you move forward, you know what? This is what is going to enhance your expression. It's going to be uniquely what comes from you because you make it personal. So to be personal, to nurture the personal development of yourself, of others, that's why you need the family archetype, you need the human system. He is attached to the figure of authority, the elder, in that human system. Now he's become the elder, and he's got all of that experience, and he respects authority. He's got that ingrained in him through his grandmother and how she was able to transfer. This is what happens with the things, in closeness with others that we love, who love us in family. A lot of things are transmitted, and he was given the gift of actually understanding how important authority is. Now, not everybody in authority, of course, but the intelligence of having experience, because that's what getting older gives you, or is supposed to give. Not everybody does it the appropriate way. Again, depends on the person and depends of their level. But now he's the older self, and look what he's talking about. They don't care. And now I'm out of there. I love that place. I love this system. I love all of this. But because of what I did that day, nobody cares now. And I have so much to offer because I'm older and I have all of that experience. That is what I think he's telling us here, right?
They're not saying, they're not calling people back or saying, what do you think about this? They're not saying, what? I mean, I get messages from operators saying, hey, I'm looking at this weapon scope. What do you think on it? We're looking about doing this sort of drill for hostage rescue. What do you think? And I'm like, all right, okay.
Well, you know, they did.
And that's what comes back to you on the of support. Maybe we'll touch on it later, but that's one thing I'm extremely grateful for, is that I've had nothing but support from members and peers of the SAS, not just the guys I served with, but the older generation have all supported me. And now the future generation, they're coming up to me when they see me in Hereford and say, you don't know who I am, but I'm in whatever squadron. You inspired me to join the SAS.
The older generation supports me and the future generation needs my experience. That's his archetypes.
Thanks, and the guys all send the regards and stuff. And it's not just about what I did that day. They're actually talking about social media, the potential book, which probably isn't going to come out, but the book that's been written. They say this is a story that needs to be told, and we'll touch on that in a bit anyway. But it's good to get support from your peers.
It's good to get support. So he's referring to a book that I think now is officially, for good, definitely not going to be published. Why? Who knows? Yes, it's a story that needs to be told. We should hear it. But apparently some people, they just don't think that he's a good example. So did you hear this language? Support, care, older generation, experience, the younger, the future, all of that stuff. We've been talking throughout all of these episodes about how that has taken shape. All of those archetypes have been ingrained in him. The attachment to authority, the older self, and he's becoming older, so now he has to play that role. I've said it from the beginning. The function of that archetype is that at some point, things, there's like a pivot. So now you're the one that needs to play that role. And by the way, that can create crisis of identity. Let's go to another clip.
Now, from what I understand, you were told to stand down and not enter.
No.
That's not true.
No. I didn't. No. I just... The difference is I had no authority.
I had no authority. Again, that word. So I mentioned that a few episodes ago, that the reality, because Shawn Ryan had mentioned that he went in against his country's order. No, that's not exactly what happened. He just decided to go in, and he was not ordered to go in or to not go in.
So no one had told me to go, and no one told me not to go.
Did you feel compelled to go?
Yeah. I went in alone, but then it became a team effort with some remarkable individuals.
Kenyans?
Yes.
How uncomfortable are you right now?
Pretty uncomfortable.
That's a very funny moment, because Christian Craighead I think he cannot really speak about a lot of what happened that day. So he's sort of walking on eggshells. And that's what Shawn Ryan is referring to. It's very funny. It's a very funny moment. I'm very uncomfortable.
So, but it was the most remarkable day of my life. And I've done close to 1,000 door-kicking missions. And there's nothing was ever like that day. Nothing. And people talk about flow state. And whether it be training, I still do CQB today. And you still enter that flow state when you cross the threshold, whatever that be, whether it be skydiving, whether it be a CQB, whether it be some sort of sporting event. There's, you know, when you get dialed in and you like it's on. That day is, I unlocked some sort of superpower on that day. When I crossed that threshold or whatever that point was, it felt like I could see further. I could hear things. I could move faster. I was stronger. My mental agility. I really unlocked this like flow state.
That's quite an amazing thing to say. So the flow state, and also to have the sense of superpower, that again, this is the connection of the dreamer and the hero archetype, because they're actually supposed to be connected. So that's very interesting that he mentions that. Now, when you're completely aligned with who you are and your capacity, and to have that flow state, it's almost a state of trance. And that's why in that day, you know, I mentioned in the previous episode how some things happened that day that made him think in hindsight and feel a very special connection with what was going on in that day. No, I mean, no wonder that he is so, how do you say that? He put so much stock into that day. I mean, obviously it's incredible what happened that day and what he did, but it's for even bigger reasons for him. I mean, so much happened for him internally. That connection with spirit, the flow. It's like everything we're going to see in further videos, everything led him to that day. And so all the pieces were together with everything that happened to him since he was young. I mean, it's no wonder that it's so extraordinary. It's just an amazing story, and the way that he tells it is just very compelling. And the flow, that's also of the dreamer archetype, by the way, because it really is like being, I don't know, in another dimension. It feels surreal to be in that kind of state and flow. And the hero really seeks that kind of experience, actually, because it's pure fulfillment and also a sense of being connected to something else, to something that you can't really define. So anyway, what an amazing thing to say.
And make a cup of tea, turn on the TV, I'm on the Sky News, my iTunes on shuffle, In Excess starts playing a song.
He's talking about after the event finished.
I'm a big fan of In Excess, but never heard this song. It's called Searching. And like lyrics is, I am searching, I am not alone, and stuff like that. And I'm just like, that's when it hits me. That's when I'm like, my eyes well up, and I'm like, what just happened? What just happened? Like, it hadn't really sunk in. Mm-hmm. And then for a few days after, I kept on bursting into tears, like bursting out crying. And anything wasn't triggered. It wasn't things that were triggering me. And I asked the doctor about this. I said, doctor, I keep on bursting into tears. I said, but the strange thing is, I'm not being triggered. I'm not like hearing something or seeing something and it's triggering me. I feel fine. I feel absolutely fine. And then all of a sudden, without being able to control, I'm like start crying. I said, what the hell's going on? Because I feel fine. And he's like, this doctor was like, it's an adrenaline dump. He goes, you just pumped all this adrenaline. You've been through a traumatic experience, and this is like a release thing. And that was a strange thing. It wasn't, like I say, it wasn't triggered. I didn't hear a sad song or I didn't see something. It was just like driving along, and all of a sudden, like what's this come from? It's like like a kind of diarrhea for crying. It was just like, oh no, I can't stop it, and then I just like start crying. And eventually it stopped. That was an interesting thing that I'd never experienced before.
So that means that really that day, everything was really out of the ordinary. I just wanted to play that clip so that you see what he's talking about. This is the release of the tension. By the way, the masculine energy, the hero archetype, it's all about release. So it's no wonder, that he kept all of these things inside the body. He went on for, was it 20 hours in total or 24? I don't know. Almost, I think it was 20 hours that he was in that operation. So he went in alone, then he worked together. He paved the way for others to go in and to save all these people because it was quite a scary situation. And of course, he went on for 20 hours. I don't know how you can physically accomplish that, but then, for the next few days, he had to sort of release everything that was in his body. And he'd never experienced that before. Another indication of just how extraordinary that day was for him. So that increases the meaning. But listen to what he said. He said that he heard a song by In Excess, huge fan, by the way. We're the same generation. We grew up with the best music. So this is the way that we assign meaning to experiences. And the seeker, searching, is the one that is interpreting experiences. Here's the interesting thing about this archetype that is the seeker, the explorer. That's the one that is going to interpret, is going to create a story about your experiences and what you do. The thing is that when you don't have experiences, that's the problem. But this guy has had huge experiences, and so that's why he's creating this interpretation. And he has his philosophy, his belief system. It's authentic. And in this archetype, for a lot of people who do not have experiences that are going to inform them of why they need to think about something and create sort of a theory of everything and give meaning to things. What they do is that they're just going to profess belief system that they have gained from others, but it doesn't correspond to their lives because either they haven't linked that knowledge to their experiences, or they're just not experiencing anything. They're bored to tears. They don't have any excitement, and therefore their belief system is dogmatic. It's not authentic. It doesn't belong to their experiences. But for this guy, it totally does. I mean, his belief system is authentically connected for himself. It's for him. That's what I mean. That's what the archetype is. Otherwise, you're just going to believe in things and discuss with others, I believe in this, or to have opinions and convictions that are actually not based in your life. So, and that's very different from actually having had the experiences that are going to shape that theory of everything, that belief system that you have. And that's an amazing thing, to be able to really have a sense of belief that is authentic as opposed to, dogmatic. Love that. So I'm going to end here. And in the next episode, I have no idea. I don't remember. There are so many clips, but we're going to be finishing here. He's going to be talking a little bit more about his issues with authority and why they've been blocking him, particularly from publishing that book. There's always a schmuck.